Well, faith is a tricky word in interfaith dialogue, partly because even Buddhists are often atheists. And in interfaith dialogue, one of the groups that is often brought in, which I deeply appreciate, is the humanist movement, which needs to be needs to be in the interfaith dialogue. So I respect what you said. I think as I was thinking of this group of people, though, we struggle with, a government which has not acknowledged religion or is turning away from in both Turkey and in Canada. And one of the questions is, how do we deal with that? And I don't have a lot of answers, but I think we need to really talk to each other and to talk with government. I don't want to go back to where there's an Ottoman Empire, and I don't want to go back to where the Catholic bishop or the Anglican bishop can whisper in the ear of the prime minister and get things changed. So, I probably wasn't as careful as I should have been, but I was thinking of the group that's here as much as anything, and I agree with you in terms of we have to be very careful even about the use of the word faith in interfaith dialogue. I mean, maybe, I don't even know if we can use interreligious dialogue. I don't know what we're going to use. Do you ever, what? Well, ethics is how I live out things and how I have a moral code. And there's something about mystery, and there's something about higher power, and there's some other questions in there. Not that everybody comes from the same place. So, I want to expand it beyond ethics, just like I need to expand it beyond faith.
Professor Baum wants to intervene here.
I think that this is well taken, but I think I want to keep the word interreligious dialogue, because there are religions and they want to be in dialogue. But I agree with you that there must be dialogue also with humanists. And I will even turn around and say, when I go to the meetings of Amnesty International, and when I go to meetings of people in Montreal who are concerned about unemployment, and if I go to all kinds of meetings where people are concerned, I mean, people on the left, I'm very much a man of the left. My heart is on the left. I guess everybody says it, but when I go to these meetings, I regret how few committed religious persons are there. It seems to me this is a pity that when I go to these meetings, that people know me because I live in Montreal now, but there are few religiously people who go there, and I think that we shouldn't be afraid. Religious people shouldn't be afraid.
Yes, but it's too late. It's too late because Dr. Zeybek changed the name. Instead of interreligious, now he calls that intercultural.
No.
But intercultural doesn't catch it, because culture and religion are different, and we need to really.
No, we have to keep the word.
We have to keep those two words separate.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. Of course. Of course.
So let's have one more question. Yes, please.
Thanks again. This question is also for Professor Balmer. First, I just want to make sure that I understood you correctly, Professor. You maintain that Canadian government is becoming more secular, and it is for the better, in your opinion, and yet on the other hand, society is becoming more secularized, and that is not for the better.
No, I would think that on the one hand, it's a more complicated analysis.
Agreed, yeah.
My experience in Ontario is that Ontario is becoming more secular. We became more secular with the NDP government. We continue to get more secular with the Liberal government. Mm-hmm. And my question is, what kind of a voice can the faith communities or the religious communities or even the cultural communities have a way of doing? They're recognized at this point, mm-hmm. because they bring out votes to a certain extent. But the what kind of a dialogue can we have about ethics, about morality, about whether we give the money to GM or whether we give the money to put the welfare system back in shape again? And what are the different ways we open up discussion? I want to open up discussion among the different faith communities, and I want to open up discussion among the faith communities and the religion and the government. And I agree with Gregory that sometimes some of us are lone rangers as religious leaders in some of these discussions. Like I'm the only faith person, there are people of some other different religious groups that are at the 25 and 5 for Ontario, but I'm basically the only religious leader in 25 and 5, which is the 25% reduction of poverty in 5 years coalition. And I wish there was more energy that we're working on to bring, because I think the faith communities need to be working very, very hard to eliminate poverty in Ontario.
Our fourth session is Dialogue, Sincerity and the Gulen Movement, and our session's chair will be Professor Bryce Balmer. So I would like to welcome all our professors for being here. Please welcome our professors.
So we'll start. Daryl Bryant is taking the place. Well, none of us ever take the place of Gregory Baum, but he's taking the slot. So.
I have actually been involved in the dialogue of religions for more than 35 years. And when I began in the 1970s, this was not a very popular activity, right? And it's amazing to me to stand here before you today and to realize just how remarkable the developments have been over the last 40 years in relation to the whole phenomenon of dialogue. Now it's happening everywhere. In 1893, as part of the Columbian Exposition in Chicago, the World's Parliament of Religions brought together men and women from the world's religious traditions. For many in the West, it was their first encounter with Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, Confucians, Taoists, and other religious traditions of the East. Notable for their absence were the native traditions of North America and Muslims from abroad. There were 2 American Muslims in attendance. It was a remarkable event, with Swami Vivekananda, who later found the first Vedanta societies in the West, one of its major stars. At its conclusion, Vivekananda remarked that if the Parliament of Religions has shown anything to the world, it is this. It has proved to the world that holiness, purity, and charity are not the exclusive possession of any religion in the world, and that every faith has produced men and women of the most exalted character, end quote. It was an event that the American historian of Christianity, Philip Schaff, would see as inaugurating a new epoch in the history of religions.